Choosing a neighborhood to live in Baltimore can be overwhelming at times. And today, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna compare two of the top neighborhoods in Baltimore. We're looking at Federal Hill versus Canton. So stick around, we're getting after it right now. What's going on, everyone? It's Adam Taylor back again with another video talking all about living in Maryland. Today, we're diving in and we're looking at two neighborhoods in the city of Baltimore, Canton versus Federal Hill. Now, if this is your first time to our channel and you're looking to learn all about Maryland, great news, you're in the right spot. We do videos just like this each and every week talking about living here, working here, chilling here, and most importantly, getting out and enjoying all the great things you can do here in Maryland. So if that is the information you're looking for, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to give the little bell a click. That way you're alerted every time we put out another video just like this one. Now right now, my team, I say it all the time, we are getting phone calls, text messages, and emails from folks all over the world. I just got one this morning from a lady in Alabama looking to make a move here to Baltimore. And you know what? We absolutely love getting these calls. So if you're thinking about making a move, whether it's in 7 days or 70 days, my team and I would love to help you in your transition, but we just need one thing from you, and that's for you to reach out to us. So please give us a call, shoot us a text message, send us an email, whatever you need to do. We've got your back. We're moving here to Maryland. So as we break down and dive into Canton and Federal Hill, we're gonna go over some key things. We're gonna go over housing costs. We're gonna go over parking. We're gonna go over parks, walkability. We're gonna look at shopping and so much more. So again, this is gonna be a thorough deep dive into both of these communities to give you the information that you need when making a decision to move to Baltimore, Maryland. So let's start out with number one. And in reality, I think it has to be the parking. Whether you're gonna rent here or purchase here, more than likely you're gonna have a vehicle. And the truth is, parking is gonna be challenging in both spots. And in my opinion, I find that parking is much harder to come by in Federal Hill. I don't know why, it's just very, very crowded. And I find that if I'm looking to go to Cross Street Market, I've got to park 3-4 blocks away before I can find a spot. Conversely, in Canton, it's very challenging as well, but I always seem to find a parking spot after 5 minutes of driving around on the street. Now, the one thing about Canton that I don't see too much in Federal Hill is Canton, they've got a lot of one-way streets, and so does Federal Hill, but Canton has these streets where you essentially back into a parking spot, and I find that that's a little bit nicer. So if I'm gonna weigh both of these, I'm gonna give the edge slightly to Canton on parking. The next topic we want to look at is your housing cost. What's it going to cost to purchase a home in either one of these places? So here's what I did. I went out and I just took an average of what's on the market right now in Canton, and I took an average of what's on the market in Fed Hill. And here's what the numbers say. Not what I'm saying, here's what the numbers say. So we did a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, which is pretty standard, you know, your typical row home that you may find in one of these communities. So in Federal Hill, the average price point right now here in March of 2023 is $460,400. And that will get you 1,584 finished square feet in a row home in Federal Hill with 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. Now on the flip side, if you take that on over and you go on over to Canton, that same home in Canton, identical specs, is going to cost you $312,386, but the square footage is going to be a little bit lower. You're at 1,352 finished square feet. So a little smaller place with a smaller price point in Canton as compared to Federal Hill. What about getting around both of these places? What's that look like? Well, if you have to travel up and down Interstate 95 and you're heading to points south, meaning down to like Washington, D.C., Columbia, Fort Meade, whatever it may be, you really got to look at Federal Hill because, I mean, you blink your eyes and boom, you're right on Interstate 95. You just head on down to Hanover Street, do the little jug handle turn, turn yourself around, and then you get on the ramp and head south on 95. Conversely though, if you were going to points north, White Marsh, Middle River, Harford County, etc., being that Canton is on the northern side of the tunnel, that's going to be the better spot for you. And in reality, like, it's sort of a toss-up dependent upon where you need to go. But I think the tiebreaker here is whether or not you have to pay a toll. Because if you're going to be working south of the city, I see really minimal reasons to live in Canton where you're going to have to hit that toll every single day. And don't think you can sneak your way out of it by going all the way through the city and coming around the inner harbor and hopping on 95. Sure, you could do that, but my goodness, during the rush hour, it's going to take you absolutely forever. So it's a better investment investment to invest in that Easy Pass, invest into a commuter plan, because you're gonna save so much time, my friends. So depending upon where you live, both places are convenient to get to Interstate 95. It's just make sure you're on the right side of the tunnel for the right community. Look, if you are finding value in this video, it would mean the world to me. It would keep the wind in my sails and keep me motivated to keep producing videos for you if you'd hit that like button down below, so when it looks like a little thumbs up there, and drop any comments, any specific questions you have on Canton or Federal Hill down below, because either myself, somebody on my team, or one of the great Marylanders that live here already will do our best to help you out and answer those questions. So let's jump into the next thing. And in reality, I really think it has to be what feels like a neighborhood. And over the summer, I took Kyle and John out to find a place. And we searched and searched. We went to Canton, we went to Fells Point, we went to Federal Hill, and they ultimately ended up in Fed Hill. Here's why. Because Federal Hill seems and feels more like a neighborhood. And the reason being is there's lots of trees around in Federal Hill, especially like along Charles Street where they ended up purchasing a home. It's tree lined and it just feels comfortable in things. Whereas in Canton, you're really not gonna find that. It's just asphalt, concrete, and houses. It's unfortunate, but I have to give the edge. When you look at things through the lens of a neighborhood feel, I feel like Federal Hill is the better option for you. Let's take a look at walkability. What can you do? What can you get into just by walking out your front door and maybe walking 10 minutes? And we'll look at Federal Hill first. So the great thing about Federal Hill, first off, if you're a sports fan and you're gonna be going to any Ravens and Orioles games, Federal Hill is a spot for you because you can essentially walk to both stadiums from Federal Hill. In addition to that though, the hub of Federal Hill is Cross Street Market. And you've got all of your coffee shops, some carry out places to get a slice of pizza or a sub or a sandwich that you may want. Right in Cross Street Market, there's a few good restaurants. There's tons of restaurants outside of Cross Street Market and all along Charles Street, lots of bars and other things to get into. And it's very concentrated. It's right in one area. Essentially, that's your nightlife and daytime place to go to get a bite to eat. Now, some other cool things about Federal Hill are you can go to the Federal Hill Park, and I like it because it's essentially the best spot to get a view of the city of Baltimore. I would argue with anyone on taking a photo of Baltimore from Federal Hill Park. That's going to be your best vantage point, and it's going to look fabulous because you can look all the way into the Inner Harbor to the World Trade Center building and then all the way out to the bay past the Key Bridge. So it is beautiful. In addition to that, if you were to hop in your car, head over to Locust Point, you can visit Fort McHenry as well by living in Federal Hill, or even jump on your bike. It's a short bike ride. So Federal Hill is great, but now let's look at Canton. Here's the deal with Canton. Let's knock out the parks real quick. So you have Canton Waterfront Park, great spot, runs right along the water. So if you're looking for waterfront views, you've really got to look at this park. You take your dog for a walk, go for a jog yourself right along the trail. If you had a boat, I don't know why you would have a boat living in Baltimore City, but if you had a boat that you wanted to launch into the water, you can do it right there. You also have Patterson Park. Patterson Park is a scaled down version of Central Park located in New York City. It's fantastic. There's people over there walking their dogs, throwing Frisbees with them. You'll see sports teams out there practicing all the time. You'll see kids from school having a lot of fun over in Patterson Park. So you can get yourself into so much right there in Patterson Park. Now, in Federal Hill, you have Cross Street Market and everything that surrounds Cross Street Market. That's sort of your place for your nightlife, getting a good bite to eat. Well, in Canton, it's called the Canton Square, and it's a great spot. Lots of good restaurants right along there that you would need to check out. So it sort of balances it out when looking there. But in addition to that though, you got to look at all the convenience that you have in Canton. And I just think being able to, ride my bike or walk or jog right on over to all the stuff in Canton Crossing, there's a certain price for the convenience there. And I really, really think walkability is a big thing for you. You got to look at Canton. So there you go. There's comparison of Federal Hill versus Canton. Now, I love both communities. Ultimately, the choice is yours. I just want to give you the information to help you make an educated decision. But the best thing for you to do is come on into one of these neighborhoods, go experience it, go feel the vibe. I would highly encourage you in reality to sort of do this on the weekend, because that's when you're gonna see how bad the parking is in both places. You're gonna get a feel when most of the residents are in the community and what it's like. Now, the only other time that I think it might be a little bit better is if it's like Ravens game day or Orioles home opener. It'll be kind of cool for you to experience both places, not just Federal Hill, but also Canton. So my friends, there you go. Canton versus Federal Hill. Which do you think is better? Again, comment below. I'd love to look at those comments, but until the next video, my friends, you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.